with your experience going from, because for a lot of people, right, it's definitely, we have a comfort zone. Everyone has what they're more used to. Like, how was that, stepping out there, right, and being, not just a cog in the wheel, but like being a part of the actual, campaign and helping to build that presence in North Charleston.
For somebody like me, it was frightening. I'm actually, when I say to you, I'm a homebody. I called myself an introvert up until a few months ago. So yeah, knocking on people's doors, people that I did not know, and asking them for their support for him, it was out of my comfort zone. But in the front of my mind was always, keep your eyes on the prize. We got to get this man elected, whatever it takes by any means necessary. Let's do what we have to do. So it was uncomfortable, but there was a bigger goal in mind, and the goal has always been to help him get elected. We
Right.
definitely wanted him to do a lot better in South Carolina than he did. We were fairly disappointed because, like I said, the amount of work that we put in this state, you guys would not believe. When I say to you, I know my days because I have a full-time job as well. So I would get off work at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Hmm.
literally take off my work shoes, put on my sneakers, throw on my Bernie shirt, and get out there and find and get doors to knock on. So it was a lot. It was a lot of work, but definitely doable if you just keep it in the front of your mind. We got to get them elected. We got to be. This
Right.
is a bigger goal. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than the people around me who are frustrating me. It's bigger than the doors getting slammed in my face or looking at
Oh
people that look
no.
like me saying I'm voting for Trump. It's bigger than that, you know. So
Really?
yeah, man, I'll never forget that day. Oh my gosh, it was amazing that day. But yeah, I knocked on quite a few black folks doors that said they were
Hmm.
voting for Trump. And, I finally just got to the point where I'm like, well, do you mind telling me why?
Right.
Most of them couldn't, just because it's Donald and he's strong. But for the most part, that's it. So media plays a big role in the way that people perceive things and perceive
Right.
people.
So, like, from your experience, like looking at that, because like you said, because one of the things that I love about Nisi, right? Like, Nisi she's not someone who is like, oh my God, everything went wrong. She hasn't been like trashing, anyone and all that stuff. And I really like, I shared a post of Nisi's on Facebook, like, I think probably the day or 2 days after the Charleston primary, and she just was explaining, like, regardless of, even if 95% of everyone was this, or if 95% of everything went wrong, there were volunteers. When you're making these statements and these allegations and stuff, there are volunteers who actually put their everything, and
Yes.
staffers who put their everything into, because I know we've talked before about stuff going on, because I know you guys couldn't really say much on social media when you were
Right.
actively working with the campaign, but I know you told me that we were doing this. I remember the one weekend when Bernie was there, and I saw Nisi has these great selfies that she got with Bernie. But like, you guys were going like nonstop that
Yeah.
weekend. Like, it was so much going on. What do you think though, that for people, in the coming states, for people who are really getting involved, whether they're working directly with the campaign or grassroots, I know you've said, if you can stay grassroots and collaborate. But
Yes.
what are some like tips or things that you've learned from what you did that you think might be helpful?
Well, the main thing, just like you said, if you're grassroots, if you can, please just stay grassroots. The campaign has perimeters that they have to work within and things that they have to do. They have certain goals that they have to meet, and that's understandable. That's the campaign side. But as a grassroots person, you're kind of free to be as creative as you want to be. So if holding signs on the side of the road is your thing, you can do that as a grassroots organizer. If you like flyering the parking lots at Walmart, you can do that as a grassroots organizer until the cops come and tell you to get off the property. But you can get away with doing more things more independently from the campaign, if
Hmm.
at all possible. If and when they come to your state, see if
Okay.
they're willing to collaborate with you. Meaning getting you things like literature, sign up sheets, those kind of things. But if they're not, man, just go online. There are Google Docs everywhere with sign up sheets, with I think there was one point where we were doing house parties all over the place. You know,
Okay.
there's all sorts of information out there for you. I will say the grassroots folks all over the country are fabulous about sharing things that have worked for them.
That's
So
good.
even if you're not online, if you know somebody that is online, they can download documents, they can download pamphlets, and they're good, it's all good, accurate information. It's nothing that you're putting out that's not true. All of it is good, accurate information. Go out. One thing that I tell folks now, especially this time of the year, farmers markets, flea markets, just whatever audience you're trying to reach, go to those places where you know they're going to be and just hand out flyers. Or I even said one time we would go into, because a lot of the reason why they brought us on into the campaign was because we knew we had to do outreach to African American
Hmm.
communities.
Okay.
And here in North Charleston, and in Charleston, there's some areas where, just to be frank with you, white folks wouldn't get the best reception. But at least
Right.
they would at least talk to us. They wouldn't be afraid to talk to us or let us talk to them. So once
Okay.
you've got a target audience, get the literature that you need to reach that particular audience. Um, there were
Okay.
some neighborhoods that we went to where talking about mass incarceration worked a whole lot better than talking about environmental issues.
Okay.
There were some areas in Charleston where talking about environmental issues would be better than talking about mass incarceration. Just know your audience and
Right.
um, try and put your conversation in the light of what you believe will work best for that particular area. I know sometimes if I go up to a house and there's a swing set in the yard or toys in the yard, then I knew
Hmm.
this is somebody that may have little kids
Okay.
or maybe a grandparent. So I fashion my spiel, say, hey, did you know that he wants to have family and medical leave, as a part of your right as a citizen in this country, so just depends on where you were. And there were some neighborhoods where it was advantageous to talk about his stance on the war on drugs. And you just kind of knew when you walked into the area, hey, okay, this is probably the right thing to talk about to them. So just kind of tailor your conversations to your audience. Um,
Okay.
if you're lucky enough to maybe get to speak to a neighborhood association or a women's group, or, do the things that are going to be more, talk to them about the things that are going to matter to them. Um,
Okay.
Another thing that I liked was just that was an idea that Stella gave me whenever she was telling me about doing like little coffee chats or meeting each other in,
Yes.
like a Starbucks, and just have a talk right there and just talk about Bernie. And you know how Stella is. She will keep you on point
Hmm.
about Bernie. So make sure the
Yeah,
conversation
if
doesn't go
anyone
anywhere.
has ever ventured into the African Americans for Bernie
Yep.
chat room, the group, you already know Stella runs a tight ship. She don't
Yes, that's
play,
it. So
and I'm an admin in there. I've had my post deleted when I first. She's messaged me like, "Did you mean to post this?" I mean, but yeah, but having those focused conversations, like definitely, like you were saying, like we've said it several times. Know who you're talking to.
yes.
Understand what the major issue is. Don't assume, oh, everybody's going to care about this or that. I know one of the things, like my stepmother's parents are in North Carolina. They're in Raleigh, but they're older Black people, and they just had they talked to them real simple. Instead of trying to explain what democratic socialism was or
Hmm.
wasn't, they just skipped that whole democratic socialism conversation, just went straight to economics and increased Social Security.
Exactly.
They were
Exactly.
sold.
And that exactly. So they
Like it
knew
was.
they tailored it to the
Yeah,
audience. Yeah,
yeah, and you
absolutely.
you definitely need to do that and stuff like that. So I know, like, I don't want to necessarily get into like some of the different allegation stuff coming up, but I just want to just like going forward, right? Okay, so there are these different allegations. Everyone's